What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada, and with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you today?
I mean, hey, the Kings were making a push, right, for win now. We might still be in these Wembanyama sweepstakes. Another loss last night. They give up 94 points through three quarters. But other than that, I'm having a great time. How's everything been with you?
Everything's good. I couldn't be happier. The Astros kick off game one. We're so bad that I could be in Houston right now to attend that. Unfortunately, as you know, we're on the clock right now waiting for my wife to have our baby girl, so I can't fly right now. She can't fly. But I am very excited. And as you know, and a lot of people know, the Astros have never won game one. So that's going to have a lot to do with my futures bet with them doing the sweep for plus 650. They need a win tonight. It'll be Nola against the great Justin Verlander. Verlander has not performed well over the years in the World Series, so I'll be very interested to see what he does. Let's jump right into the past, present, and future.
All right, Adam. Last night, Baltimore played Tampa Bay. I'll tell you what, man. Especially with all the other sports going on, this Thursday night football is not a good product to me. What did you think of last night's game?
I was ticked off with that game. I had the under and I gave it to the clients, and we had 46. When I saw it go off at 46 and a half right before the game, I said they're about to try to screw us out of this. And how do you give up 36 points in the second half between those two defenses after only scoring 13 in the first half? It was just really skeptical, man. It's just some of these games, and like you said, especially standalones, they get real fishy, man. So besides that, I knew Baltimore was going to win. Tom Brady's been all over the news this morning, so it seems like the divorce is going to be final lies between him and his wife Giselle. Just a lesson for people to understand, man. As we get older in life, you got to be able to uh, step back from being in the spotlight and be able to share and not be all about yourself, man. His wife has been by his side and allowed him to be the best player in the world for the last 20 years. And, now he's about to lose his whole family and everything because he broke the number one rule, which is happy wife, happy life, man. And as you see, even though he did what he wanted to do, she's still affecting his play now because he looks terrible. It doesn't look like Brady's eating in 10 days. He's out there just looking like a ghost of himself, man. And it's all with the fact of the problems that he's having at home. This is about to be a long season. You remember in the summer, we talked about this when we found out he was coming back. I said he was going to regret that because he's now going to go out like a chump instead of the champ he's been for the last 20 years. And it's really sad to see, man, when athletes don't know when to step away.
Yeah, it was too bad. But we had an exciting game when Louisiana Lafayette took on Southern Mississippi. What were your thoughts on that one?
Totally pissed me off with this one again. Louisiana Lafayette decides this game to not show up at all in the whole first half. They get an interception on the very first play of the game. As I told you, Southern Miss's quarterback, Wilkie, is not that good. He threw an INT the first play of the game. ULL has a great kicker, and instead of them kicking the damn extra point and taking a 35-yard field goal to get early momentum, they go for it on 4th and 3. Southern Miss stops them, and now all of the momentum swings to Southern Miss. Their coach does a wonderful play calling job. He knows his quarterback isn't that good, isn't that talented. He starts allowing Frank Gore's son to run the quarterback position for them. He's normally a running back. He's been there like 4 or 5 years. He's a little bit smaller than his dad, but he's just as electric and is just as strong. And he threw a 60-yard dime to a receiver on the post. And at that moment, I knew we were dead. I'm like, if the running back's throwing 60-yard bombs, we're in trouble. They were up 29-11 at halftime. They scored 20 points in a matter of like 3 minutes after that first turnover. And the Raging Cajuns weren't able to catch up. Ben Woodridge came back down to earth. He chose this game and we pick him and put our money on him. And I gave it out on 97.5. He chooses this game to have his first bad game of the season. He's had 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions leading up to this game. And this game, he threw 3 interceptions. So just disappointing, very disappointing.
What did you think of the Pac-12? I'll be honest, college football games have been more entertaining to me than the NFL on Thursday nights. We had a Pac-12 showdown when Utah was in Washington State. What did you think there?
Yeah, that was a good game. I won
It
that one.
was.
Yeah, I had +7 Washington State. They would come out prepared with having back-to-back losses in the Pac-12, and over the years they've been really good in Pullman. So they were able to play tough at home. Uh, Utah lost their starting quarterback. They lost Rising. They say that Rising made the decision not to play. So that was something that I didn't even know anything about. That ended up going our way. They had to play their backup Barnes, and he's not nearly the player that Cam Rising is. And for some reason, Rising said he was too hurt to play, and he didn't play. And Bryson Barnes comes in there and squeaks out a victory. They almost gave it up at the end. Washington State got the stop and actually got an interception, but the refs got called to one of the defenders for Washington State, and then ended up where Utah could kneel out. But we were able to cash that one at +7.
All right. Yeah. Like I said, you guys have been telling me for years. I'm finally joining you on the train. These college guys do put out a better product. Let's move into the present because we have some more exciting football action this weekend. And I'll tell you what, maybe on Thursday night it's not as good, but I've still been loving my Sunday NFL. But we're going to start on Saturday. TCU takes on West Virginia. That one should be a shootout. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's a shootout. I actually gave the total out on 97.5, and I also given out a little bit later in the Ball and Parlay. The line on that game is TCU -7.5 at West Virginia. If I had to take a side, I'd definitely take West Virginia and a little bit over a touchdown. TCU has played a lot of close games, but we'll get more into this game in the Ball and Parlay as I give out the total.
All right. Ohio State takes on Big Ten rival Penn State. They're a pretty heavy favorite. What do you think here?
This one right here is going to be a tough one to call. Anytime you got Ohio State playing Penn State, it's usually a close game. James Franklin has done a good job over the years playing the Buckeyes. 15 points just is a lot of points to give up. I know Ohio State is quite dynamic, but they have to have one off game on offense, and they haven't had any this year. C.J. Stroud has been lights out. He's probably in first place right now to win the Heisman. I don't know if Penn State can stay within the number, but I'm definitely not laying more than 2 touchdowns on the road at Happy Valley. It's just not smart. Even if Ohio State covers the game, it's just a lot of points to lay on the road. We've seen how these home teams and the home field advantage that it carries in college football with these crowds out. So with it being a morning game, that kind of changes a couple of things for me. If it was a night game, I'd for sure be on Penn State. With it being a morning game, it's a stay away play for me. Ohio State could very easily cover, but also Penn State could very easily win money line. They have the talent, and they have a veteran quarterback in Clifford who's very streaky, and if he gets hot, he can put some points up. I definitely would be looking at the over and under on that game, but it's so shaky because these games also sometimes they become shootouts between these two universities. Other times they're slugfest. So it's just a funny game. I'll stay away from it.
Yeah, it should be fun to watch, and we don't need to have action on every single game. Notre Dame takes on Syracuse, huh? Notre Dame, the traditional powerhouse, but Syracuse is the ranked team here, and they're favored. How are you approaching this one?
I like Syracuse. Syracuse is very tough in that carry dome. They're a tough team to play when they're at home. I love everything that Dino Babers brings to the table. I think that Marcus Freeman will not be prepared to match wits with Babers. I think that he's able to get to Drew Penny, the backup who's now the starting quarterback for Notre Dame, who I've always liked, but he's a little undersized. But Syracuse has a very tenacious and opportunistic defense. So I think the Syracuse defense continues to play that we saw in Clemson, with them being able to take away the ball and with them being able to be a stout defense. And I think that Garrett Schrader, the quarterback for Syracuse, does just enough against that Irish defense. Schrader's very good at scrambling. He's very good at making plays outside of the pocket. And I think that ends up being just enough for them to squeak by in a close one.
Yeah, that one should be fun. And of course, Notre Dame, missing Brian Kelly. We were hoping they were going to keep it going. Maybe they can get things going next season. It's been a disappointing season there for the Fighting Irish. A Big 12 shootout, right? These are always fun as Oklahoma State takes on Kansas State. 2 ranked teams facing off here. How are you approaching this one?
You called it right on the money, a shootout. Anytime you're dealing with Oklahoma State. And what's crazy is they play really good defense and not known for defense, but they've been having a lot of shootouts in the last couple of seasons. And they have Spencer Sanders back. You remember we talked about him last week on the show. I said that if he didn't play, Texas covers. If he plays, Oklahoma State would cover and maybe win, and they did win with him being able to pull out a victory in Stillwater in the waning minutes of the game. I like everything that Spencer Sanders brings to the table. I trust Oklahoma State's program. Kansas State had a tough loss last week. They led most of the game and ended up allowing TCU to come back and win and cover. I don't know if Adrian Martinez is even going to play. They might have to have their backup Will Howard out there. And if he's out there, Oklahoma State rolls. If Martinez plays, he still won't be fully healthy. So I like Oklahoma State definitely in this game.
All right, let's see if they can get it done. Let's move to Sunday. And of course, for you and me, we're going to be up early again as they're kicking off in London, which means a 6:30 start out on the West Coast. I know a lot of people sleep through it. I'm usually up early working on my stuff anyway, so it's right in my wheelhouse. I love having those early morning games. This is an opportunity for me to root on the Jaguars, but I haven't decided if I want to get involved betting this game. Russell Wilson, the story, he's doing high knees on the whole flight. Every teammate that's had an opportunity to come out and bash this guy, they have, right? You can't get a hold of them, things like that. Jacksonville definitely struggling here at 2-5, but if you run numbers, their point differential is pretty good because they lose all 5 games, have been one-score games, and they've blown out their opponents in their 2 wins. Do you think they have a chance to get a blowout win here against the Denver Broncos and their stout defense?
No way. Denver's going to win this game money line. Russell Wilson is going to answer back a lot of his naysayers this week. It's not really his fault what's going on over there. He doesn't have a good coach. He has him running plays that he ran with a whole different quarterback with Aaron Rodgers. He's not tailored that offense to Russell Wilson's strengths. And I'm also a little bit tired. At first, I was laughing about it, but now it's getting to the point where now I'm trying to look at these media companies like, what the hell are you guys on? Like, Justin Herbert has been horrible this season. Tom Brady has been horrible and lost his family. And the only thing Russell Wilson does is try to do the right thing, and they're making him butt of every joke everywhere that you look. And it's getting a little old to me now. Actually, they need to try to look at some of these other quarterbacks who are not performing as well or actually worse on the field. Look at Aaron Rodgers, what he's doing. Like, I'm tired of them talking about Russ at this point. Like, it's going a little bit too far, man. It's going into the realms of now I'm wondering, what's your point of view? What's your reasoning for all of this stuff? I haven't heard anybody say anything about Justin Herbert this year. He's played horrible the whole season. So I'm a little bit over the Russ slander, man. It's getting a little bit too old and a little bit too repetitive. But as far as the game, I do like Denver in this game. I don't trust Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is getting a lot more hype than they deserve. As the year has went on, we've noticed that they lose a lot of these guys because what we already knew, that they're young. They have a good coach in Doug Peterson, but we still don't know if Lawrence is that guy. We haven't seen him just control games, take over games like a number one pick should. And I just think that their whole team and roster as a whole is still just wet behind the ears. And I think the Broncos really need this game. And besides Nathaniel Hackett, stupidity holding them back, they have a very good roster. And I think that the veterans for Denver step up this game and get this one done. I like the Broncos to win this game straight out.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm kind of getting tired of the Brady slander too. It's like I'm hearing a bunch of people and they're like celebrating the fact that the man's losing his family. I mean, first of all, he's 45 years old. So right. That could have something to do with the fact why his plays decline. He doesn't have much of an offensive line, and people seem to be happy that his kids are the difference between
weird, man. These people are so weird.
It is getting weird.
They just celebrate your downfall. I've never seen such stuff like this. Like, it's just like, if these people didn't personally do something to you, why are you so thrilled to see someone else go through something bad in life, man?
And I think we also tend to see the worst of it on Twitter, right? Because people like you and I, right? Like, we fire off tweets here and there. For the most part, we're doing stuff. We're having a fulfilling life, right? We're not on Twitter 24/7, right? Like, if you follow me on Twitter, you're going to get picks, plays, a couple. I like to do some takeaways here and there, but I'm not living on there 24/7. I think the other thing is a lot of the stuff that we read, those people really aren't doing a lot with their life. So
Right.
Besides celebrating others' downfall, they don't have a lot going on. But
Right.
I agree with you there. It's gotten really toxic. Even in the NBA discourse is even worse. So let's see who bounces back there. But we'll be up early, and I like having the games in London personally. I don't
Me
mind
too.
getting up early, have some coffee, enjoy some football,
Yeah.
and that should be fun. It should be more fun than last night's product, I hope. The Bears, coming off that big win over the Patriots, are now catching 10 against the Dallas Cowboys. This is a tough one for me because I don't want to buy high on this Chicago Bears, but it feels like Luke Getsy's finally figured out, hey, like you're talking about the offenses, Justin Fields isn't going to be an Aaron Rodgers, drop back in the pocket, take 3 steps back, hit 2 reads, and fire off, right? He needs to be hitting bootlegs, designed runs. You should be using them like Lamar Jackson, not like a Justin Herbert or Brady, right? And it feels like they're getting things together. And that kid is quite the athlete. I mean, one of the best athletes in the NFL. He's so fast. He's got a cannon for an arm. Bears are catching 10, but they just sold on Robert Quinn for a 4th-round pick, moving on from him. Interesting, coming off a big win that they would do that. How do we approach this one? Was that just a one-hit wonder there for the Bears, or do you think they can come back?
No, they're turning the corner, and let's get this straight about Justin Fields. He is an athlete, but he's a quarterback too. I've watched this guy throw from the pocket all through college, so he can definitely operate from the pocket. He's he's not like Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. He's more like Josh Allen. Whereas
Okay.
they had to tailor the offense towards Josh Allen not because he couldn't throw the first couple of years, he just was having a difficulty reading out the defenses as most young quarterbacks do when they first come to the league because things have to slow down for them. And I think that he's going to be a phenomenal quarterback in the league, especially if they have the right OC. I don't know if this guy's going to grow with him and it ends up where it's working. Right now, the last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of improvement with their ability to move the ball on offense. But I don't have any doubts about Justin Fields and the type of player he is. He has heart. He's a winner. He's really pissed out there when he's not winning. He's trying to win. He's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid of whoever he's playing, and he can really throw the ball too, man. It's just right now things have to slow down for him. So until then, they have to tailor the offense to the things that he does best right now, which is his athletic side. Kind of like I said, Josh Allen. I see him in that same type of realm of being a Josh Allen type of quarterback that can beat you with his arm and with his feet. Whereas in Lamar, he's more definitely an athlete than a quarterback, but he's still a good quarterback because he's so great at the athletic side, and the running side is so elite that his passing can lack a little bit because you have to respect his speed so much. Whereas, and I think that Justin Fields is going to be more like Allen with a 50-50 type of game, where he can run the ball and he can throw the ball. The the Bears are playing really good. Matt Eberflus is a really good defensive coordinator. The Bears have only given up, I want to say, 6 points in the second half this season or something crazy like that. They've been playing some really good defense. So this game is going to really get interesting because I'm sure that they're going to make Dak uncomfortable. And we know that the Cowboys will be able to make Fields uncomfortable, but Fields has the athleticism, as you spoke about, to break away and actually make some plays when the rush attempts to get to him. Whereas in Dak is not that guy anymore. Ever since his ankle injury, he has not had the burst and speed that he used to have at Mississippi State when he first came to the league. So he has a difficult time getting away from the pass rusher. So I think the second reaction plays will be the key to this game. And it's a whole bunch of public money on the Bears, man. But it's hard for me to give up 10 right now against the Bears the way that they're playing defense. And Eberflus is showing himself to be a solid coach. They're not, great offensively, but he has those guys ready to play every week, and you see that with the Bears and what they're putting out there on the field.
All right, our favorite teams face off down there in the Superdome in New Orleans as the Raiders coming off that win over the Texans, their best performance of the season, taking on the Saints, who, boy, are still alive in that NFC South, right? And that's got to feel great for how slow they started the season, but they got to feel good at this opportunity. The Saints have had extra rest. Raiders, coming off their best performance of the season. How do we approach this one?
This is Dennis Allen's career game. He has to win this game. Everything set up perfect for him. As you said, just so the fate would have it this year, every team in that division sucks. Like, let's be real about it. You can win that division this year with what 9-8. You think?
Carolina's still alive.
Carolina's still alive.
Right?
They got hope. They're going to be running around and flying everywhere
Yeah.
this week against Atlanta. They're so happy that they're still in it. Atlanta feels like they're the best team in the division right now. You know what I mean? So I know the Saints have a great, great opportunity. It's like almost like they just got a brand new start. Like, last night when the Bucks lost and when how many games they lost in a row, now they're back in it. Even though they have not had a good season. I was seeing some of my Saints Twitter guys was tweeting. They saying if SP Sean Payton was the coach, the Saints are already locked up a playoff position right now. It's like Dennis Allen, this is your opportunity. He chose to go with the red rifle from Katie. There's a lot of clapback about that. People were saying they want to see Jameis. Dalton, since he's been the quarterback, has moved the ball effectively, but he's still Andy Dalton. And the thing with Andy Dalton, we know even back with Cincinnati, he'll look great for like 3 quarters and then just had the biggest bonehead interception where you're like, what the hell is this guy thinking? And he still, after all of these years, has not been able to clean that part of his game up with making bad throws sometime during the game. I mean, Gino and him are a lot alike with, getting a second chance at their career. But the difference with Gino's making big chunk plays and protecting the ball. Andy is not protecting the ball, and that's what troubles me about this game. I'm sure the over is the play on this game. We're going to be in the fast turf. We're going to be in the dome. Both teams are executing at high levels on offense right now. I don't see the Saints being able to stop Devontae Adams from doing what he wants to do. It just comes down to now, can Derek Carr hit these open men? We know that if the Saints pass rush get on Derek Carr in that dome, he's going to start giving the ball away because we know that he shrinks in the moment when he's pressured. So I would definitely be on my Saints in this game for a side, but I also do like the over on this game. But I think the Saints step up and win this game. I think Andy Dalton has a huge game against a really suspect Raiders defense. And I think the Saints jump back in it this week. It's been a lot of talk about Kamara to the Eagles. And if Kamara is traded to the Eagles, Mickey Loomis might as well move to Philadelphia because he's working for them. Because it makes no sense that he's giving away our first and third draft pick to those guys. He's giving away our best defensive back in C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Now he's about to give away our best offensive player to the Eagles. I mean, it just makes no sense to me. If you want to get off the contract and save some money with Alvin Kamara, you see he's losing a little of his juice. That's understandable. But man, send him to the AFC. Don't let him go somewhere we're going to have to face him the next couple of years in our quest for the Super Bowl.
All right, let's talk about Sunday night real quick because people always love that Sunday night action. Green Bay Packers catching 11 against the Bills. Is that too many?
Yeah, that's too many. That's way too many points, man. I think the Packers are way too proud to get blown out like that at Buffalo. You know how these games work. The Packers might win this game money line. It's the perfect storm for that type of steal by the books right here. I know that the Bills have been a very impressive team, but what's the Packers' strength? The Packers aren't good against stopping the run, but the Packers are pretty good against the pass. They got some of the best defensive backs. They got a decent pass rush. So I think that they'll be able to hang with Buffalo in this game. I think that's a preposterous number to put up against an Aaron Rodgers led team, no matter how bad he's playing. I know he's lost a step and all that, but they still have a great running game with the Packers and two running backs who can really get it done. Where I think that Matt LaFleur has enough sense to take the pressure off of Rodgers and put the ball in the hands of his playmakers. That's the thing that he brought over there from Tennessee is running an offense that was less about the quarterback and more about the running backs and receivers. Their receivers are young. They've really struggled. Christian Watkins isn't ready. Romeo Doubs isn't ready yet. And the kid that they have is the number one guy isn't a number one guy. So I kind of can feel what Aaron Rodgers is going through right now because he doesn't trust where those guys are at, and he's not one to really cut it loose and anticipate. He needs someone he trusts and knows is there. So they're lacking being able to go down the field, and that's always been a big part of the Green Bay offense since Aaron Rodgers has been there. But definitely within a 12-point game, it's no way I'm giving up 12 points against the Packers, and I might be the biggest fool. They might get ran 30-7 or something like that. and Buffalo just steamrolls them. But it's no way I'm giving up that type of points to a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Even if we lose the bet, that's the side I want to be on. Let's talk about the future because you are going back to another team that we know about.
Yeah, I gotta put some money back on the Saints, man. Tyler and I had the over 3.5 wins in the conference, and at first that was looking a little suspect, but now I think they can win the division with everything that's going on because they'll definitely get Tom Brady when they go to Tampa Bay. They're gonna beat them this time when they go down there. So um, it's just all about Dennis Allen. If Dennis Allen does what he's supposed to do with this stacked roster that the Saints have, if he can get the best out of them and he can get them to respond, then I think that they can still win this division. They have the best team in the division. They have the best roster in the division. Now it just all depends on coaching. We've already seen what we expected from Tampa Bay. We spoke about before the season started. The Todd Bowles was not that guy. He's not that good of a coach. And Tom Brady, as I talked about on last episode, he's took complete siege of that team, and him and Light are running it into the ground. They've made it their own personal little New England, South Florida, Central Florida or whatever, and they're doing what they want to do and what benefit them best. And him getting rid of Bruce Arians told me a lot, man. If Bruce Arians was the coach there, Tampa Bay would be a completely different team this season because he was a guy who's going to put a foot in Brady's butt, and he would have told him, I don't give a damn about anything that's going on with you at home. You have a job to do. Whereas Todd Bowles continues to cater to him, and I almost seem like he's afraid to say something to him about the things that he's doing. And now, even worse, he's not even getting a response from his defense because that was absolute quit we saw last night against Baltimore. They let Baltimore run it up and down the field on them like they were a high school team, man. I haven't seen that type of gashes in the running game from an NFL team since like high school, man. It's just ridiculous. And then you got Carolina. It's no way PJ Walker is going to beat the Saints consistently enough to win the division. And then Atlanta is just Atlanta right now. You got Marcus Mariota as quarterback, but I mean, look at the Saints. We got Dalton as the quarterback. So it's just a weird season in that division. And you got the Hall of Famer with 7 Super Bowl rings not playing well. So I still like the Saints plus 550. I don't think Tom Brady mentally gets back into the season. I think that he goes out sad, unfortunately. I think he misses the playoffs this year, just goes home and tries to recoup and, reevaluate his life, get him a hot new girlfriend, or go on TV and talk a little football over the next couple of years.
All right, let's go ball and parlay game. I'm just going back to the well, and this isn't a complicated one. Kyle Shanahan always beats Sean McVay. First of all, they know each other very well. Secondly, the 49ers just get the ability to establish the run against that Rams defense. You talked about the strengths of the defenses earlier. That's another one. The Rams are designed to stop the passing attack. Shanahan running that old school offense. He wants to get things going. And then once again, even when the Rams had a pretty good offensive line, this 49ers team was able to get pressure. Now with a completely offensive line that's completely in shambles, it's really going to be a tough matchup here for the Rams. They went top heavy and they went all in and they won, right? But now they're kind of facing the fact that, when you're constantly trading second, third, fourth round picks, that's your depth. Yeah, if you're great, you can get a starter in the third round, right? A star. But most likely you're just trying to get a starter. You're trying to get a quality player who's cost controlled. Instead, the stars and scrubs method is starting to see some holes this season. And I think that we have a great opportunity to buy it low on the 49ers coming off a loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are a great team. They can put it on anyone. So let's, everyone remembers that bad performance. The 49ers bounce back. I like the Niners minus 1.5 in LA.
People are saying that this is a setup line with the Titans at it was at -1, now it's grown to -2.5 at the Texans. And I understand why the Texans have fared well against the Titans over the last couple of years. And Tannehill's a little banged up. He was seen in the walking boot after the Indianapolis Colts game. But the main numbers that matter to me are this. Houston's defense is 31st in total yards and they're 32nd against the rush. I saw how Josh Jacobs was able to gash them last week here in Las Vegas, and I see the same thing coming with Derrick Henry rolling up in town, especially with problems at the quarterback, with health issues. I know that Mike Vrabel sharp enough to lean on his horse. He's going to get about to Derrick Henry all day long and run it downhill. I think that the Tennessee defense isn't good, but it's very opportunistic, as you saw last week with Matt Ryan, as it caused 3 to 4 turnovers. And I think they'll be able to give Davis Mills some issues. Davis Mills is a quarterback who's really regressed this season after some promise that he showed at the end of last season. And it's simply because he's just not, a professional starting quarterback. I don't think that he's the quarterback that can lead this team moving forward. And if Houston had any sense, this is the year to tank because they have a very good opportunity at getting either Stroud or Bryce Young. I prefer Bryce Young just simply because his leadership qualities and everything. I know CJ's a good leader as well. I just like Bryce Young's athleticism just a little bit more. But I think that we have two teams that are just in two different states right now. You got Tennessee, who has their mind on winning the AFC and thinking about, hey, this is wide open. Last year, we contended and went on a run and almost went to the Super Bowl, and we can do it again this year. So I think that the Titans go into Houston and handle their business. If we do see a lot of Malik Willis, it might be a good thing because it's something that the Texans haven't prepared for. So we'll see a lot of RPOs probably from Tennessee. And as you know, Willis has a big arm. After you have people sitting on that run so much, he might have some guys on post routes and go routes where he just can air it out and not too much thinking, just catering to his athleticism. And I think that Brady was smart enough to do that. I just like him and his coaching staff against Lovie Smith and those guys. I expect the Titans to win this game, and I'm going to take a money line just to prevent any of the little jinky stuff that goes on with these points and these 2-point conversions and these missed field goals and things like that. But the Titans are 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games, and they're catching stride. And I just really think that they see this as an opportunity that they cannot miss out on. They cannot give away a game to Houston right now if they're going to win the AFC South. And I think Vrabel has his guys focused about that. So we're going to go with the Titans money line. I'm also going to give out TCU. It's over 68.5. It's went down a half a point. I still don't care. TCU has went over all of its games this year. In fact, the over is 11-1 in TCU's last 12 games following a straight up win, and the over is 4-1 in West Virginia's last 5 games following a loss. The weather is not going to be a factor. The reason this line is dropping is because the last 7 of 8 matches between these guys have been a slugfest. They've all went under. But the reason they went under was because you had Gary Patterson, who's a defensive-minded run-first coach at TCU, going against Brown at West Virginia. And the route to victory for West Virginia in those games was just playing good defense and keeping the game close. It's a complete different story with Sonny Dykes as the coach of TCU. They have to keep up. TCU is going to try to score on every position. That's what Sonny Dykes believes in. He runs the same offense and has developed the offense that his dad helped start with the run and shoot and took it to whole new heights. And they're trying to hang 50, 60 points on you every time they get a chance. So the only route to victory or keeping the game close for West Virginia this year is to be able to score. They have been pretty good on offense at home. They scored the most points on Baylor's Barnes defense this season. They put 43 on them. In that game they had at against Baylor a little bit earlier this season. They've actually averaged 50 points a game at home. So I think that West Virginia puts up some points, and I know TCU is going to put up some points. So I'm going to go over 68.5 and buck the trend of these games going under between these two universities. Hey guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in so much. We're going to try to speed these shows up, get them down to 30 minutes for you so you guys can get this information and get on about your day. I know we like to elaborate sometimes, and I know you guys enjoy that too as well, but we just need to keep things rolling and try to keep things precise, man, for you so that we can get you the information you need so you can make you some money. Anything for the people before we get out of this spread?
No, I'm excited. And I guess the last thing I'd say, I love that pick because Mike Vrabel is the exact opposite of a little rascal. That's the type of coach I want leading my team. So great picks today. I can't wait to win more this weekend.
Hey, Bud Dupree said that he's a goon. He said our team is a team full of goons, and we got a goon head coach. So we're going to see if the goons can cash out for us in Houston. Tonight I got my Astros as well. I'll definitely be betting on them. Let's get game 1, guys. Let's go on and lock that in so I can get this sweep for this plus 650, and the Astros can set a new precedent in the MLB and be considered one of the greatest teams of all time. Follow my guy Spread Astaire. Follow me at 5 Star in Vegas. Spell out the 5. We're going to be here 3 times a week. You guys turn on your notifications so you can know when the show comes up. Get you some winners, man. We appreciate your support. Best of luck to you all. We'll see you guys on Monday.